Hi everybody, I'm Sandy Armenian.
And I'm Cindy Armenian Rice.
And welcome to Mezze Moments, where we are going to be sharing our love of our favorite Armenian foods, and then we're going to bring you into the kitchen and show you how you can make them yourself so easily with one of Cindy's mezze kits. So today we're going to be making...
Today we're making kifta, which is an Armenian meatball. So there are many different ways that you can make kifta. Some people make them round like little meatballs and cooked in a tomatoey chicken broth, which is what we're going to make today. Some people make them large and like baseball size, and they stuff them with a mixture of ground meats, nuts, and
Grandma used to put raisins in.
Raisins and cinnamon and some other flavors. Yeah, not my absolute favorite. And Mom used to make them. We called it little balls of geta good, just little meatballs in chicken broth, and it had like this egg, like a dropped egg mixture, and it was yummy.
Which she would make pretty much every year for Halloween. That's every time I think of Halloween, I think of little balls.
It was a one-pot meal that was so easy. You could make ahead, and it was her go-to for Halloween. So today we're going to make the little round meatballs. And actually, just one other thing, some people actually bake kifta in big trays.
I've never done that.
It's the same meat mixture. Put a layer of meat and then the filling, and then they bake it and cut it in squares. And one unique characteristic of kifta is instead of like in traditional Italian meatballs, you might put breadcrumbs or breading in it for the filling. We put cracked wheat, which is bulgur. Bulgur, you probably call it bulgur. We call it buhud. But the cracked wheat gives it the thickening agents and the creaminess. And we'll show you some different kinds that we can use in the kitchen.
Because it's different size bulgur.
Different size bulgur, yeah. There's fine, medium, coarse. You would use the coarse. If you want to make pilav, like instead of rice, you can make bulgur of pilav, which maybe we'll make that another time.
Because you have a kit for that. I
have a kit for that. It's yummy.
Unreal.
Yeah, it is yummy.
Here's what I was just thinking about. So Mommy also used to make what we would call khima, which is steak tartare, right? Where she would grind her own meat or grind her own lamb, beef or lamb, and then add pretty much the same ingredients, right? And we would eat it raw.
Yes, we would eat it raw.
We ate a lot of stuff raw.
We ate it raw because it was the way the meat was prepared. She would cut the outside layers off, which is where most of the bacteria is usually contained on a solid piece of meat. And so she would cut the outside off, and then she would grind it 3 times. So it was really clean, lean. And if you're used to eating it all your life, I guess we must build up some kind of a resistance.
Some strong stomachs in the Armenian family.
It was good. And one other interesting thing, when Grandma would make kifta, she would hide a button inside one of the meatballs.
Wait, a button, a real button?
A real button with, little holes in it and everything. She would put a button inside one of the meatballs, drop it in the pot, and let it cook with everything else. And then when we were all sitting around at the table, one person would get the button, and they would supposedly have good luck.
If they didn't swallow it. Choke and die.
That was their good luck.
I never knew that.
I know, yes.
Did you ever get the button?
I never did. And sometimes she would put a quarter, which seems even worse than a button. I know, ew. But we wouldn't do that.
We're not doing that today.
Food safety and all that.
But, cool. So let's go into the kitchen and show you how fun it is and how easy it is to make them.
Yep, let's go.
Welcome back. We're going to be making kifta with one of Cindy's mezze kits. Show you how easy it is.
Yes, so these kits make it really, really easy to make these meatballs. Every kit has several packets inside that you'll use to prepare and make your specialty dish. This packet has some onions, which prevents you from having to chop onions. The seasonings for the meat, which actually includes the buhud that we were talking about before. The cracked wheat has basil and parsley, so you don't have to go scouting around for ingredients.
Can I tell you just on that packet alone, like I love kifta, but it's not often that I have the cracked wheat or the bulgur in my pantry. Like what I've actually done sometimes is I've gone to like the supermarket and I've bought the little box of tabbouleh, thrown away the spice packet just to get the bulgur. So that's why I love what you've done here. You've made it so easy.
Oh, good. I've done that too. And sometimes you don't have like all the seasonings too, like the basil and who feels like chopping a tablespoon of parsley, right? So we've done that for you here. And then this packet number 3 is actually the makings for the broth that we're gonna cook the meatballs in, the tomato and the seasonings and the lemon juice, all in this little packet.
Fun.
So on every one of these kits, you'll see the step-by-step instructions on the back. So the first step in making this dish is taking packet number 1, which I have already poured into this little bowl, and pour 2/3 of a cup of hot water in this to rehydrate the onions.
So it doesn't have to be boiling water, just hot water.
Doesn't have to be, yeah, and just let it sit for about 2 minutes to let it rehydrate a little bit.
Honest to God, how much do you guys hate chopping onions?
Zippity zip, just like that. You don't have to be crying, chopping the onions, no cutting board, no knife to worry about. And this kit requires you to use 1 pound of ground beef, or you can use ground turkey or chicken if you rather, lamb, whatever meat you want. And then you would take these onions after their 2-minute time is up, pour them into this bowl of meat, and then we take packet number 2, which I've already poured in here, pour packet number 2 with the other ingredients, and then just gently mix it up. Just stir it up till it's very nicely blended. Easy, real easy.
So Sin, for this one,
Yeah.
like we had mentioned earlier, there's different types of craft wheat. The coarse, the fine, what's the other one called? I know, Mommy used to have like number 1, number 2, number 3,
do.
something like that.
They number 1, number 2. So number 1 is the finest,
The finest.
which is what we put in here, so it'll make a smoother texture. Number 2 is medium ground. Number 3 is coarser, as we mentioned before, as we're making more rough foods. So this is number 1. And then this meat looks sufficiently mixed up. Some people don't mind sticking their hands in and mixing meatballs with their hands. That's perfectly fine. Some people don't like to touch meat and they'd rather wear a glove or use a spoon. So now it's time to make the meatballs. But before we actually do that, let's get the broth going. You take the contents of packet number 3, which I have right in here. Pour them in 6 cups of water and bring it to a boil on the stove. Just going to give it a little stir. And when the water starts boiling, then it's time to drop the meatballs in for cooking. But first, of course, we have to roll them. Okay, we're back from washing our hands, right?
So what we like to do is we like to have like some kind of a tray or something like that to put the meatballs on, so that you can just carry the tray of kifta over and drop it into the broth.
Right.
So that's what we're going to do.
So again, with your hands, just take a little ball size of meat mixture. It can be like the size of a large walnut, smaller, larger if you like, and just keep on rolling.
Cindy, was it Mommy or was it Grandma that used to make it like a
I think
like this?
Yeah, it was like a
football.
It was like a football. Grandma did that, and I think Mommy did that too.
Right?
I think that maybe that's more traditional, but I just find it easier to make balls.
Yeah, I do too. I love these. These are like so. I love that you said it's simple. It's one pot. It's you guys don't have to measure anything except for the water.
And this this one batch that we're making today will make a couple of dozen meatballs. I had my nieces and nephews and son over a few days ago to make this dish together for a little party, and my son, Derek, was making snowmen. So he would make snowmen shaped meatballs. He'd make a big one, a little one, a little teeny baby head. I said, Derek, the snowman's gonna fall apart when we put it in the broth to cook. And he said, I thought we baked it. And I said, He had toothpicks in it and everything.
Cute.
So I said, sorry. So he disassembled it. We did find the little baby head floating around in the water later.
You have no idea how badly I want to taste this raw.
Oh God.
But I won't.
No, good girl.
I taste everything raw, usually. It smells yummy.
Just don't tell me about it.
I won't.
But anyways, also for the same party, I didn't want to put a button inside one of these meatballs.
That's a good idea.
So I put a walnut, a big walnut. I asked anybody if they had any food allergies ahead of time, and nobody did.
Yeah.
So we put a nut in, and
who got it?
Roxanne. And she won a little prize.
What was the prize?
The prize was a 4-pack of Nantucket blueberry soda.
How fun.
She was so happy.
How fun.
So our meatballs are all rolled. Let's carry them over to the stove and drop them in the broth should be boiling by now.
I'm gonna wash my hands again.
And sometimes the water stops boiling as you're putting the cool meatballs in. The simmering will pick up in a few minutes. Okay, so the meatballs are all in the broth. They're simmering away, and they take about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes to fully cook and tenderize and absorb all the flavors of the broth and the seasonings. And then we'll be ready to eat.
So the kifta is done, and we have some serving ideas. So let me just show you.
So you have a few of the kiftas
Yep.
in some broth, which a lot of people just love to eat the meatballs and drink the broth throughout or afterwards. Yeah, let's give it a taste.
Oh my God.
It's good. I love the juice. Some people like to dip bread, like crusty French bread, in the juice because just sops it up nicely. And
So yummy. And this is something that I've never thought of doing, Sim.
so some people will
Over rice.
actually make rice pilaf or any rice dish, and
God,
serve
great idea.
meatballs right on top of that with the juice.
Great
because
idea.
the juice is like so nice and yummy with the rice. And also, some people will put plain yogurt, like a little dollop of plain yogurt, right on top of their meatballs. It gives it a little bit of a tang if you like. If you like that, it's kind of like a sour creamy type flavor.
Oh my
It's
God.
yummy.
Cindy, this broth, honest to God, it's a perfect blend of tomatoey, lemony, and what I love about this is you don't have to measure a thing. All you do is supply the meat, and you're good.
You don't have to measure
That's
or
awesome.
think about anything or look up your mother's recipe. Again, the ingredients are in the back of the package.
yummy.
Step 1, 2, 3. Everything's contained in this kit except whatever meat you want.
So since I'm gonna keep eating, so tell them where they can get the kits.
So all of our kits are available from our website, mezzekits.com.
Love it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the next Mezze Moment.
Bye.
Bye.
I feel like we're in the... Look at your face. Look at your face. I'm just gonna get the extension
I
cord.
can't see my face without my glasses.
I don't think it's any good. Is that okay?
I can't see it without my glasses.
I think it's good. So now it's time to make the meatballs, but before we actually do that, let's get the broth going.
Time to make the meatballs.
And the seasonings, and then we'll be ready to eat.
Now what? This sounds really gross.
Well, I think Grandma, my father's mom, she called it bouncy ballies because it was a way to make my father and his brother eat them a little bit easier. It's a fun name, bouncy ballies.
Like a big ball. I'll take that. I just had to say it because it was there.
Yeah.
I picked that up.
You have to say these things. It's okay. She's the youngest of 5 girls. She can be crazy.
Just tell them a real quick Halloween story.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of Bouncy Ballies.
Oh.
So I'm the youngest of 5 girls, and my mother was very, very creative with our Halloween costumes, but I think she ran out of ideas when it came to the youngest child. Because there was one year I went as a cotton ball head. Do you remember that?
Was
I
that
think you were old.
on the
you were
lampshade? No.
No, lampshade was another year. Cotton ball head was what she did was she took toothpaste and stuck cotton balls to my head. I'm like, but Mom, what am I? She's like, you're a cotton ball head. I'm like, what is that? And then another year, again, she must have run out of ideas because these guys all took them all. She put a lampshade over my head. And she drew a face on the lampshade.
So
No
sad.
wonder I have issues. I'm having a hot flash too.
Okay.
Okay, anywho, so I digress. Back to Bouncy Ballies. I love them.
Yes, I love bouncy balls too. So
We love Bouncy Ballies. We love.